How live are we?
I don't know. It says it's having trouble here playing it.
I
Mine,
see, I see,
mine says
There's a
live
I see
streaming.
live on Facebook right now as we speak.
okay. Okay. Well, take your guys' word for it, and we'll thank Mark Zuckerberg for giving us this opportunity. After the shutdown yesterday, I was trying to think if it was something we said or he shut us down. I thought it was just my account that was shut down, but it was all of Facebook. But yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting, huh?
Did it affect your lives, either of your operations?
No, we weren't broadcasting yesterday, so yeah. But it was weird when it was shut down. It was such a calm and peace that came over me for that whole 7 hours. I felt like we were kind of back in the age before social media.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry about a little side note to open there. We are live here on the Ripple Effect with Dave and Erika, and we have a special guest, Marie Bowser, who's an acupuncturist. But before we get to Marie, we're gonna do Erika and I are gonna do a quick little check-in. Um, how are you, Erika?
Hi. I'm happy to see you, David. And I have been swimming in preparation for the swim meet. So I am very mellow right now after having swum this morning. Yesterday, after swimming, I even took a nap. I was so tired. This coach is working our little butts off.
Yeah, good to hear. I actually took last week off from working out, but I still continue to reach toward my goals. So I'm excited. I've been staying disciplined with my diet and drinking the smoothies and eating lots of fruits and vegetables. So I feel like you would give me a star for the whole week, a star every day. So
I give you a
um,
star every
yeah.
day. I just wish that you wouldn't use that D word. It has so many negative connotations. And I'm so excited for what you're saying. Like, that's so great.
Yeah,
I
good.
don't,
And also got from out from under some business stuff, so kind of in the clear here there, so easy sailing for at least a few weeks. Hopefully we'll see. um
great.
but yeah, well, good. Well, let's get to Marie. Did you want to give a local business shout out? I love my Green Day coffee cup, something about mixing coffee and Green Day, but I'm actually drinking tea today, English tea from PG Tips that I, learned about over in England when I was there a long time ago.
Cool. I love that Ted Lasso on Apple TV, he does not like tea. And he's like, why would you ever do that? Why would you ever do no, 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 no. He's always saying no to tea. And he's over there in England, which is a big tea drinking place. So it's always
Yeah,
very
well, their
fun.
tea over there is, and they do sell a lot of English tea here, but it's like has this extra kick and punch to it over there. It's almost as strong as coffee. So I actually order the English brands, and it's really you can see it here. It's called PG Tips. Yeah, that's a black tea, but very good.
One thing that I haven't gotten started on ordering yet is my bio coffee. I have a little bio coffee addiction. Marie, I don't think you've seen it, but oh my gosh, around the winter time, I love drinking this bio coffee, and it's like it's not coffee, and it's wheatgrass and some other
I
spices.
drink that all the time. I just ordered a couple more boxes of
Oh,
it.
you did? Oh,
Love it.
I'm so hankering for some bio coffee.
Yeah.
Something about the cold, it's really nice to get that in. So I'll be getting that over in that order.
Well, maybe a nice lead in to ask Maria, are you a coffee or a tea drinker, or what do you drink for
I
regular use?
I do drink tea. I used to drink coffee a lot, and it's a little too much high octane for my system. But I do like tea. It's very nice way to start the day. I have to be careful. I think uh, I'm naturally caffeinated, so I don't need much extra.
I
Yeah.
think that's true of me too. I definitely stray away from the caffeine teas because I'm already caffeinated in some way that I haven't figured out yet.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So I'm so glad that you're on here with us, Miss Marie
Yeah.
Bowser.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm glad to be here with you.
Yeah. I can almost feel like you're right there. Just there you go. Here's some tea. Here's some sugar. So David, do you want to start us off, or shall we just dive right in?
I'm gonna let you start us off if you're okay with that.
Oh, sure. Before we get going with Marie, have you ever had acupuncture, David?
No, no.
Okay, well, this is so great that you're a witness to this amazing discussion, because I mean, for people who are tuning in who have no experience with acupuncture and Eastern medicine, herbs, which is the cornerstone of what that work is, it's so great for people who, to listen in and to hear how it can help you in all of your systems. And it's a different way that, from my experience, acupuncture is this wonderful alternative to our allopathic Western medicine standards. And standards is such a funny word, but the usual of taking that Tylenol, or that whatever you're taking for that thing that is bugging you, or that's very allopathic, right? That's very Western. And then in Eastern medicine, it's like this whole other way, it's a whole other language. So that's what I'm so excited to hear from Marie, because you really have the medicine of this work. You have it at your fingertips, and you're so of service to people. So yeah, it's that subtle, fine energy. So how is it that you came to become an acupuncturist? Tell us your story. We want to hear.
Okay, wow. Once upon a time, I was actually working as an engineer, and I was in my 20s. I was super enthusiastic, and folks would say, well, we have a deadline, we need it done, and I'd say, okay, I'll do it. I'll stay all weekend. I'll do all the things, and rather than saying, that's not reasonable, that's not feasible, or you won't get this level of perfection, you'll get 80% based on the timing we have. I didn't understand I was young. I was a young woman in a somewhat male-dominated workplace. And so I just didn't understand the parameters. And so in order to get through it all, I started drinking a bunch of coffee. Morning I'd have coffee. In the afternoon I'd have some Diet Coke, maybe a brownie to fuel myself through the work. And at the end of the day, gosh, I need a beer. And one can imagine, or maybe some of you have experienced, when you treat your body that way, some health issues can pop up. And so I started to have some health issues. I started to feel pretty unhappy. My moon was not as good as it could have been. And, I was with a project manager at work, and I was crying. It didn't make sense. Why is this woman crying? She said, I think you need some acupuncture. And the rest is history. I mean, I at that point had felt like this job sucks. I had lost the love affair with the engineering career, and it was the healing shift that acupuncture provided for me that inspired me to, oh gosh, not only is this amazing for me, geez, I wish I had known about this 5 years ago, but people need to know about this, and sign me up. I'm gonna learn about it and share it with the world. So that's my story, my inspiration. It's why I do what I do. Keep people from having to go through that as well.
Yeah. Amazing. I love that story. And it makes me think of my own story for how I do what I do, like the story of how we slid into these healing roles. So beautiful. And, what does it mean to be a healer? What does it mean to be one that we have our own healing and then offering this to the world? So cool. So I've heard you talk about five elements in your work. And can you say about that?
Yeah.
What the five elements are and how they relate to Chinese medicine, how you use them in your work?
So the 5 elements are archetypal energies that are root concepts in Chinese medicine. There are 5 elements. They are wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. And they each represent an organ system. The wood element is related to the liver and the gallbladder. The fire element is related to generally speaking, the heart and the small intestine. The earth element is related to the stomach, and the spleen is what we say in Chinese medicine. Metal is related to the lung and the large intestine, and the water element is related to the kidneys and the bladder. And we can, take the understanding of what a healthy representation of those organs and the 5 elements mean, and we can take that information and learn and understand where imbalances come from in the body. There's basically like, what is a healthy representation of each of the elements? What is a healthy representation of each of the organs? And we use that to help diagnose what's happening in the body. It's the basis of the philosophy of Chinese medicine. We can also use the 5 elements to understand not just the medicine, not just the balance of the body, but also different concepts out in the world. Like right now we're in the metal element season, autumn. The metal element season is, the leaves start to fall, the light starts to get darker. We start to maybe want to go inward a little bit more. It's very different from the wood element season in the spring, just kind of the opposite. Plants are pushing up out of the ground. There's all this really enthusiastic energy after being in hibernation for all these months. So we can look at, the seasons. We can look at personalities. We can look at illness through the lens of the 5 elements. It's a very fun way of seeing life, not just seeing, illness or how to treat people. It's kind of like a very root concept in Chinese medicine, but also life.
Yeah, it's deep. I mean, so what these archetypes are about, that sounds, like we have archetypes from Roman mythology and Greek mythology. The mythology of the 5-element acupuncture, it goes really deep. And I've heard you talk about how you can read somebody's face and do like,
you can look at you can look at facial features and you can see, okay, this person embodies a lot of different, like some combination of the elements. But you can also look at someone's behavior. You can look at how they dress. Like a guy in a bow tie and a goatee probably got some fire element going on. Somebody who's in like their super comfy jogging suit and sneakers, and they want, their stretchy pants on, that's usually an earth element person. So
that's probably me for most of the pandemic. What, I have to put on some clothes?
Yeah, I mean, it was such an interesting year. Everybody, it in some ways was a really earthy year because we were at home, we were in our houses. Mm-hmm. We did get in our stretchy pants. Food for a lot of people ended up becoming like the most predominant entertainment, right? Everybody started baking bread. I think some people put on some weight, which, when we're really focusing on food and not out and about as much can happen. But yeah, it was a pretty, in some ways, earthy year. Like focusing on health is very earthy, and certainly health was on a lot of our minds. So stretchy pants.
Yeah, I love it. So what you're going to say, David?
Oh, I just have a little side note that's a little off script, but I think I just see this commonality between folks who know and appreciate acupuncture, like Catherine and you, that you are so tuned into a lot of these different things that most people aren't tuned into. So I think it's always interesting to hear you describe things. I think, this is part of kind of why I believe women tend to be so much more perceptive about a lot of things. Like you mentioned, the clothes and colors and vibes. They're so much better, I think, than most men at picking up on some of these things. So I think it can be easier to be, healthier if you do see these kind of finer points. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I know I have some male colleagues, and I don't know to what extent that's like nature versus nurture, how you know, how often women are guided towards one set of um, curiosities, hobbies, careers versus men being directed to another. But it is definitely interesting. Yeah, I do think that there are more women in Chinese medicine than men, just like there were, slightly more men in engineering at the time than women. And
Mm.
yeah, it's
it's
who
not
knows what
always the
that.
case. I do think Lawrence in our chapter is very perceptive. I love hearing him talk about color and the feel of things. So I think there are exceptions, but I think by and large, I think just a lot of guys I feel like are totally oblivious to just like 80 or 90% of what's out there, and they're just kind of it's just from hanging out with guys and kind of being like that myself, but more my older age, being a little bit more tuned in. So
Well, so David, I would love for you to have this experience of acupuncture because it's deep. And what happens is you go into these subtler energies with, just even the way you float a little bit up to the universe. When you're having an acupuncture session, it really is a deep relaxation state that is interesting how it gets induced, but a couple of points here and there at the ear or whatever, it's like, woo, you feel yourself floating up into the universe. From my experience, some of these points that I love are so powerful, like just pressing on large intestine 4 is helped me, move through something, a little funkiness in my ear or a quality of getting a little like sore throat and moving through it so that I got some more rest and drank some water and boom, I'm so much better. And these little points, they help. So what I would love to hear, Marie, is you chat about what you've seen during the pandemic in your practice. Like, tell us about that.
It's changed a lot. I mean, we're going, how many months is it now?
It's 2 years.
Yeah, almost 2 years. So at the beginning, the folks coming in were often feeling pretty desperate, right? Someone whose back went out and urgent care didn't feel like a safe place to be, or maybe they, couldn't get in. People with high anxiety, like what the hell is going on, right? A lot of that in the beginning. I'm finding over time, people are feeling far more comfortable starting to focus on their self-care again. Like, I don't want to say it's business as usual per se, but people are like, okay, I don't know how long this is going to last. So, I need to focus on my hormone balance. I need to get my sleep back in order. I've been sitting at my desk all month, or at my kitchen table all month, and now my neck feels bad. I've got to deal with that. So I would say like the urgency or acuteness of what people are coming in for is dialing down a bit. Still, there are folks. Someone recently came in and said, this is the first time I've been inside someplace that wasn't my house. So, everybody's in a different place. But even those most conservative folks are starting to come out and, focus on their bodies, focus on their health.
You mentioned the corporate culture earlier. I saw this great article that Ariana Huffington shared about this called the Great Resignation, that a lot of people are just resigning from their jobs under COVID. So I think a lot of this stress and things has kind of reached a head that people are becoming aware of it now, and they're just that's why they're leaving some of these toxic places. Or not all corporations are like that, but I think Louise, who we've had on, really reports that there's this kind of increased awareness of some of these issues, I think, which is definitely the first step is awareness and kind of not being in denial about kind of these health issues. So I think
Yeah, what a powerful year for helping us all take a moment to realize what's most important. Like what is happening here? Is my health in jeopardy? How do I want to live my life? Like we've, depending on the person, this past couple of years has been an opportunity to really take stock and make important decisions for how you want to live life. So yeah, good for those folks. Good for those folks.
Yeah, and I see the work you do as wonderful for supporting those living the big questions and taking those what's next steps. The energy transmission that you provide is awesome. I have really loved experiencing Marie's work, and I'm getting to get back in for some more sessions. I think I did your package program, and I'm so excited. I can feel how it's supporting me and all that I'm up to and all I'm going through. And for people who, it's such a compliment to whatever's going on, that the energy of your work is beautiful, and I feel seen, heard, supported. You're checking all the boxes, so that energy transmission. We just have a few minutes left. Anything you want to say about the energy transmission to have people who are tuning in come check you out?
Well, I mean, I do think the energy of the practitioner is important, and I also think that as a modality, within Chinese medicine, there are there's the diagnostic system that helps us come up with a holistic treatment plan. And then there are the treatment modalities. One major one is acupuncture. And I find that acupuncture really, it doesn't just bring the body back into balance. It doesn't just deal with symptoms, make pain go away. I do find when people, you use the phrase like, I'm raised up to, I'm like connected to the universe. It's a funny thing. I find that acupuncture helps to align people with how life wants to unfold for them. So yeah, your neck's gonna feel better, but all of a sudden, like, life feels less tight or wonky. Life doesn't feel like a pain in the neck anymore. And the more aligned your body is, the more aligned life feels. There's just sort of this powerful this idea of a microcosm and a macrocosm. When the body is balanced, life becomes balanced, and acupuncture seems to be a really poetic, beautiful, sweet way of making that happen. And I'm privileged. I feel privileged to offer that to people. It's a great privilege.
As kind of a lay person when it comes to this, or definitely a lay person, and somebody maybe who, because I've never tried it before, I have learned about it from some folks, and I would be very interested to try it, especially given the eye-opening experience I've had from, hypnotherapy and working with Jake Ralston for years now, a few years. What who was it for? Like, do you have to have any type of health issues, or is it just kind of a mental state of being that it can help everybody to do some sessions? Or how would you say, if I wanted to get started with it, would it make sense for me, or do you have to have some issue that you're trying to work on for it to make sense?
I find that it's often a thorn in someone's foot that triggers them to come in, right? It's often like, why, people aren't thinking about it sometimes until their back goes out, or they're not sleeping, or they're feeling extra anxious and it's interfering with their life. And a lot of times what I find is that once that patient gets through their treatment plan, once their symptoms have resolved, they're like, oh my gosh, I feel so much more capable of getting through the life stress. I feel so much more clear. There's all these benefits they didn't know that they would also experience. So I would say, yes, anybody can come in. I think acupuncture is a great way of, making you more efficient as a person, enhancing executive function, having you even keeled in, like, dealing with your children, to the children in the boardroom, so to speak. um, Navigating life's rapids and eddies. Is that a thing, when we get stuck off to the side? Like, how to get through those moments gracefully. And so then it boils down to, um, you know, does that sound interesting to someone, or is that enough of a reason for someone to want to come in? Maybe it is. I do have some folks who hear about the more intangible or subtle benefits from friends, and they'll say, I want that too. But a lot of times it's like something acute that's triggering somebody to be in the office. So it's both, and it just depends on the person. And I'll work with either scenario.
Yeah, it's amazing the variety of what it could be. Like for me, I'm getting the support of Marie's acupuncture for preparating for a swim meet that is really intense on my body. And I'm leading up to this thing, and I get to go right before I have my 3-day swim meet, and I will be totally supported for this experience that is definitely physically challenging. And it's such a gift back, so what could it be for this person is so different from what it could be for that person. So and another thing you said, Marie, made me think of like the thorn in your foot. Yeah. There's a lot of foot points, and the extremities, they talk to the whole body. So it's very likely that one of your toes gets a little the feet talk to your whole body. It's really amazing, the energy pathways, the electric current that we all are. This is tapping into it. I have we're going to stop in a moment, but like I have this picture from a long time ago that I showed my dad, who's a retired doc, of this person having open heart surgery, and they're getting their anesthesia was ear acupuncture.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And they were awake for the surgery. They were like,
oh,
and their hearts open. I mean, it's amazing what this is about.
I once had, I don't take much insurance anymore, but once upon a time when I did, there was someone who we checked their benefits, and their only allowed reason to get acupuncture was in lieu of anesthesia. I thought, wow, that is an interesting decision on the part of the insurance company. But yes, apparently it's a thing that people do. I think it's very common in the dental offices. But wow, that's pretty wild. That's a wild story.
It's amazing. It's amazing. My dad's like, that's not true. And I'm like, well, actually, yes, it is. So this system that you have tapped into is thousands of years old, right? It goes way back, further back than Western medicine. And anything you want to say about that before we close out our time? We obviously could talk to you for hours.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of clinical data about it. It's very old. It's been practiced for a long time. Not a lot of people spending. I mean, there is research about its efficacy. I don't think that there are the deep pockets out there for focusing on understanding it. But I think its longevity speaks to its power. And
it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And that mystery is it's not that mysterious to somebody who's living and growing up in China or Japan. It's part of the culture. It's normal. So thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, I'll just close with a quick little anecdote. And I always analyze everything often from a business perspective. That, I was just listening to this thing with my business coach this morning about, that we're all kind of run by our paradigms, and those are our kind of ways of operating. But I like anything like the hypnotherapy, and it sounds like acupuncture does this, where it can kind of take us outside of ourselves for at least, even if it's just 15 minutes, and the kind of clarity you get from being out of your habit, your habitual patterns, can help you kind of reconnect with your purpose and things that are healthy for you instead of just kind of being on autopilot. So that's what I got out of hypnotherapy, and it sounds like some of the same feelings and things that acupuncture brings. So I'd love to give it a try, and that's just my complicated analysis that again, these are some key things I've been studying and working on, and I'd just love to, there's so much power in the experiential part of it that you have to experience it from somebody who can take you there. And so thanks for sharing that. And Erika, do you have any closing remarks? Otherwise, we are going to close out here. Oh, you're muted.
Just want to thank you both for creating this time to talk to Marie, and I'm excited for doing some cool future things with you, Marie, to support and serve my community. And so we'll be chatting about that. And if you're tuning in and you're just meeting Marie for the first time, definitely check her out. Marie Bowser, licensed acupuncturist in, what is it, Albany or El Cerrito?
Albany, just
Albany.
on the border, just south of the plaza, just south of the El Cerrito Plaza.
Easy access office, and yes, go for it.
Do send me the links if you have a web link or any contact links, Marie. I can put those in the comments.
Okay.
And thanks a lot for sharing your story, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you both.
Signing off for the Ripple Effect here on Monday. Thank you.